dogs. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Dogsche. Dear brothers and sisters, indeed, I feel great honor to find this opportunity to mainly because of exchange, interaction. So, firstly, I want to thank the organizer. I think with the blessing of Chief Minister, so I appreciate it. Thank you. And I think general my way of thinking and ideas already 3 days already sort of also explain, express. Now part of this is my commitment for promotion of the compassionate world or peaceful century, this 21st century should be. And peace, through inner peace, then peace come. I think maybe First World War, I don't think of much people much say peace, peace. I think after Second World War, you see, people everywhere always say peace, peace, peace. But in the meantime, spend a lot of money building military power. So peace, sometimes you see, peace superficially, no sort of violence. But actually, that kind of peace, I think after Second World War, during Cold War time, you see, apparently no violence, no war. But that, some kind of peace is out of fear. One occasion I was in the Western Germany, very near East Germany. So that night, although in comfortable sort of bed, sleeping, but one part of my mind feel, if something happened, then that is the because of the frontier, front line. I think the Warsaw Pacts, I think bullet or artillery shell, British there. So that kind of situation, that kind of sort of looks to see peace, but out of fear. Then eventually, I think, genuine, peace eventually come. Then Berlin Wall disappear. Then former Soviet Union also collapse. So this indication, genuine peace must come through inner peace. So now question of how to create, how to build inner peace. Through surgery? No. So without touching our brain, I think this morning I mentioned, till I think late part of the 20th century, the scientists, they no idea about mind, only brain. On occasion in Japan, one sort of meeting, some Japanese, even I think Nobel laureate, about brain specialist. Now, he came to see me before our meeting, and then he expressed his sort of because of the sadness, was sad. Recently, his son passed away. Meantime, he didn't believe the existence of mind, only brain. So of course, I some sort of dance. I try my best, you see, to kasa. Oh, but meantime, I felt he, great scientist, brain specialist, is still he do not accept existence of mind, but a lot of sadness there. If that sadness come from brain, then that part of brain should remove. So I felt like that. So now, later part of 20th century, top scientists, as this morning I mentioned, they gradually now accept, there is something beside the brain. They carry serious sort of investigation. Some of those people who have several months, several years of meditation. So their brain is something different. And so finally they accept through meditation, through training of mind, the brain plasticity, that actually increased. So therefore, now even scientists now begin to feel, there is mind. Then also, I think the other day I may have mentioned or not, last, now I think around 50 years in India, at least I think 30, 40 cases, person who passed away, but still body still remain very fresh. Some cases 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Then the 치수름 시간도 기두지기 어디 그래? 치수름 시 먼저 치수디 그래. 걔 로사님이 기두 직수래. 되베. 저선 치수름 시 로사님은 차와 로사님은 차위하고 살 that is also the the topmost leader of Yellowhead sect, after his death, I received information he died. Then, after a few days, his body still remained fresh. So then I asked the one small clinic in Dharamsala. Since few years, they kept some equipment to test those persons who clinically die, but still fresh remain. Still body remain very, very fresh. Previously, my senior tutor, to whom I received Bhikshu Bhau. So he also 13 days remain very fresh. So after local physicians come, doctors come check his body, he dead, but body remain very fresh. Then the Losanima, so then immediately went some the technician with that equipment and put on his dead body's sort of head. Then next, I think altogether about 20 days, about 3 weeks. So the person who put these wires keep close contact with one scientist in America, Reggie Davidson, great scientist. Nema lokashikonia logic nang mityata masaji. Dinang jigre.
He was known in Time magazine as one of the most influential, one of the 100 most influential persons.
So he well-known scientist. So later he told me, oh, some mysterious things, you see, there indicates from their sort of the mission. But then we consider all sort of subtle element cease. So remain in a most subtle level of consciousness. At that time, all the physical, because of the energy of physical movement, these all cease. So then one strange thing, in Australia, another sort of monk, say, strangely, when I reached there, he already passed away. Already 4 days, you see, happened, right? Passed. Then local, in hospital. So in local doctor, you see, they saw, you see, that dead body, but still remain very fresh. Then the local doctor allowed this body can remain in the hospital. So long, you see, there's some, because of the truly dead sort of indication can remain. So then the strange thing is, I think fourth day night, the dead body, the hand moved. You see, I think previously remained, I think, like that. Then fourth night, the dead body's left hand hold the kasa, right hand's this finger. So then I told those concerned people, oh, great Pichi, you must keep camera 24 hours. Then how it moved, his hand. So we also, the difficult is to explain. That wrong that you know. Chapchik lung nyungme wese negolia, chapchik lung dusarwa. Chapchik lung lulu kujo jayade chapchik lung chikorwa. Chapchik lung dusarre ta the kaza kong sand kaza search kaza kong sand tupne tupden tukure. 자상가 산디 컨디션 거이나 지금 안 좋은 거니 있네 디 지금 상담 갈 수도 와 중니 중물보다 뉴메 versal 내대어리 탑직롱 간다라고 루부에다 롱승 차리 띵 가차리 다 차원 뉴메 versal 때는 지금 여러 템포 좀 그도 아니 남시 파편이 아니 파도 다 파도 내가 줘야 아주 또 시고로 그래서 지금부터
And someone said that clinically that actually what happens there is all the gross states of mind and the energies that associate the mind dissolve, and the person is supposed to be in what is known as the dying stage of the clear-light mind. And at that stage, actually, from our own traditional perspective, it's quite difficult to explain how this movement of this person, Genputen Tulku, actually happened. Because in our text, it is explained that as long as there is the pervasive wind energy in the body moving, the movements happen because of that. But when the mind is at that stage of dying, which is called the clear light of mind, there's no way that this pervasive wind energy could actually cause any movement. It has already ceased. And so it gives us also a sense to wonder how and why and how this movement had happened at that stage to this person.
So eventually, Riji Division, he now start a small sort of say, project to further investigate the person who clinically dead, but still body remain fresh. Now he tried to find scientific sort of explanation how to do like that. So therefore, now there is mind. See, mind through operation or through injection or through drugs. For example, those people who much worry, anxiety, drugs, temporary, so they bring some kind of tranquilizer, tranquilize, but not much effective. So some level or certain sort of mental level, sort of restlessness or disturbances must solve through use mind itself. From the Buddhist viewpoint, all destructive emotion based on ignorance. So the antidote of that ignorance is wisdom. So first try to study, then gradually get some experience. That is the best way to reduce destructive emotion and increase positive emotion. So therefore, now peace must come through inner peace. Certain now, in order to develop inner peace, as I mentioned earlier, only way is training of mind. Now, all major religious traditions carry message of love, message of forgiveness, tolerance. All major religious traditions, you see, teach us carrying this message. However, now today's world, out of 7 billion human beings, nearly or around 1 billion non-believer. So we have to find the certain way of training or way of thinking which can cover entire 7 billion human beings. Now that's the secular ethics. This is not new in this country, India. Over 3,000 years, the secular ethics there. The secular idea, and with that, secular ethics there already. I think India's sort of concept of ahimsa very much related with secular ethics. Then religious harmony, very good in this country. Generally speaking, some pockets, some problem, that's understandable. But that also very much related with ahimsa. So when we sort of explain more detailed, deeper way, the ahimsa related with karuna. Where is karuna? Ahimsa come. So therefore, according to Indian tradition, we need a secular way to promote human value. Human value means physical action, verbal action, mental action, which brings happiness. That's a moral way. Any sort of physical action, verbal action, mental action, which brings suffering, or uncomfortable or fear, that's immoral. So demarcation, moral and immoral, not necessarily based on religious sort of belief. Just any action brings joyfulness. No harm other, that's good. That's positive. So any motivation which brings that kind of verbal action, physical action, that's moral ethics. Without belief or heaven or hell or next life. So we are trying to promote that. So the ethics through secular way. Now that we already now committed, it lasts I think more than 10 years. Many scientists, many educationists, and many social workers. And now, end of this month, we're going to have one meeting where some NGO, some individual, some professors, who already sort of committed in this sort of work. So like that, and through education, secular ethics, not through prayer, not through blessing, but through education. Like I think Buddhist ethics, also through education, not just prayer, not just faith. That's the proper way. That's why the Nalindra masters wrote many books, which we usually call Tengyur, and Buddha's own sort of speech, about 100 volumes, Ganjur. So, according Sanskrit tradition, according I think Buddhism in general, and particularly Sanskrit tradition, learning the reality, and including reality of mind, reality of emotion, through that way transform our emotion. So that also is the same principle, through awareness, through education, transform our emotion. So now, here this time, I found from Dibruka University and Kasamui, Guwahati now, and of course here, there's a lot of people now really showing interest, teaching or education about moral ethics in normal education or institution like that. So now I spent, I think, 3 mornings. I talk much. So now this time I want to take questions. So now that's all. Now questions start.
Your Holiness, my name is Rani Singh. I'm the niece of the political Sir Harmandir Singh, who welcomed you into India in 1959. He told me that all those weeks that you spent with him, he was born a Sikh, but you had such a profound effect on him that he now tells me that Buddhism is the path that he follows. We're sitting in a non-Buddhist arena, and I was born a Sikh, but I make lots of mistakes, and I'm a very bad person. What is your advice to somebody like me? What do you have to teach me as a Buddhist?
So firstly, study about, Nalindra Master's writing about human mind, about human emotion. Firstly, we need fuller knowledge about, usually I call, map of emotion. Then, causes and the conditions of these different emotions. Now, for example, the anger comes frustration. Frustration comes agitation. So, the anger fully developed. See, sort of combat anger is difficult. So fully sort of because of that develop difficult. So the proper way, wise way, dealing with anger is the because of the initial stage, then easier to tackle. So you are not very young, but still I am older than you. So the older person's advice is, please pay more attention for study, read more books.
Great reverence to His Holiness. His Holiness, I would just like to say a short introduction about myself. I come from a generation of Christian Catholic family, but since 3 to 4 years, I have been following your teachings very closely with great admiration. My question is, keeping in mind the present scenario of violence around us in the form of verbal abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse, even mental abuse in the name of religion, question that arises in my mind is, are every good soul reborn in their own religion? If no, then why should there be any kind of discrimination between individuals of different religion?
Oh, I think each religion is in order to keep single-pointed faith. So each religion is an emphasis, one religion, one truth. Now, in reality, at least 6 billion human beings, among them, many religions there. So the reality, several truths, several religions. Sometimes the Jewish people, they have certain sort of concept, Jews are chosen people. Similarly, we Tibetans also believe we are chosen people by our Lokoteshvara. But that's, I think, are just a mental creation. Mental creation. No. I think the reality, when we born in Christian family or Buddhist family, at that time, as a parent, may use sort of some religious sort of some sort of practice, or some rituals. But basically, you see, child free. No religious sort of concept. So religious faith come later. Now, according Buddhism, Jainism, and some other sort of Hindu tradition who believe rebirth, then we also sort of have the concept, the previous life and this life. So some children from young age, sort of certain sort of certain expression, you see, due to his or her previous life's influence. So in any way, I think basically, I think religion is individual matter. So therefore, individual should have free. I really admire and love the many years now, I think many years already passed, the Italian Communist Party's leader, Berlinguer. So Berlinguer, communist. But his wife, very much religious-minded. There's no quarrel. So I think each week when his wife used to go to church, the Berlinguer, communist, non-believer, or even anti-religion, he drive. That's good. That's a good example. So like that, I think even this husband and wife, one believe religion, one not believe. So that's individual business. So within religious sort of within sort of religious people, it's a different concept, different philosophy. So in my sort of among my friends, there are many Christians, many Muslims, many Jews, so on. There's one occasion, one of my very, very dear friend, one Catholic monk, who very, very strong supporter about Tibet. Sometimes he a little bit critical about Vatican's sort of neutral position like that. So therefore, we often discuss about meditation or practice of tolerance, practice of love, these things, because these are common. One day he asked me about emptiness, or shunyata. Then I told him, don't ask this is not your business. Yeah, like that. So each person, according to his or her sort of mental disposition, to some people, this religion is more suitable. To some people, this religion suitable. Some people, without religion, is much happier. Like that. So, basically, I think we have no right, since you born in Buddhist family, since you born in Christian family, you should follow that. I think that's wrong. Completely let them choose like that. That's my view. So you come from Christian family, eventually you find Buddhist way of approach is more sort of but more rational. So I think, although I respect Christianity, any other religions, Islam or Judaism, all major religious traditions, I respect. Over, I think, 1,000 years, they really served humanity. And present also, I think millions of people get immense inspiration from this religion. Sometimes create some problems. That I don't think is the mistake of the religion, but individual we misuse. Right? Basically, I feel lack of moral principle. Therefore, religion also used for destructive emotion. Like that. So I respect all religion. However, now you can ask some scientist, a non-believer, I think they usually used to prefer Buddhist way of thinking. As I mentioned earlier, so they usually used to call rational. Yes, I think one got also the significant statement of Buddha. He mentioned, my follower, bhikshus or scholars should not accept my teaching out of faith or devotion, but rather thorough investigation and experiment. This is quite unique. So some of the Buddha's followers, they reject some of Buddha's own teaching. The reason, if you accept Buddha's teaching this literally, it goes against reason. So we must emphasize on importance of reason. So therefore, we should take liberty to reject those Buddhist teaching. I also now follow that. Now the concept of Mount Meru, these things, many Buddhist literature mention that. I publicly reject, because that sort of goes against our reasons, now scientific finding, like that. So therefore, sometimes I jokingly telling, the size of sun and moon. The Abhidhamma Karika, wrote by Vasubandhu, or the younger brother of Arya Sangha. You see, they more or less same size, little bigger. Sun little bigger than moon, but basically, 박사 ngaju chigdan chess. 박사 ngaju ngaju da 박사 ngaju tambe chawama. 박사 지금도 캠도가.
So according to Abhidhamma Karika, one says that the difference between the size of the sun and the moon is only 1 yojana. The sun is 1 yojana bigger than the moon.
Oh. So this morning and also yesterday, when sunshine comes, when sun, some cloudy, little cloud, the sun looks almost same size of moon. So I think the Vasubandhu, sometimes I jokingly telling Vasubandhu, when he wrote that text, he naturally, his age quite old, so his eyesight also not very good. But however, try to look moon, sun. Oh, then he felt, almost same size. Now today, the scientific sort of the new instrument precisely know how big sun and how much different the size, how much differences. But because of long distance, the Abhidhamma Kosha mentioned same level, go like that, and in the center Mount Meru. So our day and night, you see, because of in Mount Meru in the center, when the sun goes the other side, then the southern side goes dark night. So these almost I think because of the Gamsharo.
These are things to laugh at.
So we have the liberty to reject, no problem. Like that. So I think this shows Buddhist sort of thinking is very rational. This one. Like that. Okay.
아니 저거는 어디 가능했으나 아니 먼저 디포직 채워라니 유숨 상고를 쉬어요. 선발적으로 다두지. 아니 계시 보준주지 아니 자동체를 qab라니
베네지 가서 무서야서 베네미 연구로다.
보준주지가 아니 그래서나 시리아 제 아프가니스탄 제 딘디가라니 기원린 제 아니 중둔에 고라니 그 자동체를 qab수 아니 작주랑 통대와 아니 어딘데가 자동체제 아니 지금 뭐 친구차제 아니 작주기 람수도 있나 아니 거기 아니 이 이백이 아니 주 선발적으로 담기니 주당 간주 주기는 전혀디 가린 쉬나 아니 리듬데 걸라 아주 넘바신데 차네니 리듬데 케르비어와 아니 아주 다가 묘는 발라 가리슈 좀 보여주시오나 디 리듬데 아니 내가 가리시치고 있네 레라 육사제 야가 수충어 있네 레레 누가 수충어 있네 레레시 아니 그래서 아니 아주 아주 부지간다 아주 사람이 쉬고 있나 아니 거의 레라 치료와 이 부시레스는 어디 좀 디바디니 아주래 중간디 아니 갈리무리 아니 레디 아니 간디스 주변에서 리듬데
그래서 센 쉬워요.
라온
릉싱 시바
말말이 레금데디
디더바
너 부디에
세상고 맞다 센 시바이나 자와 미 시야겐디 다 미다 가서 쇠에 차와라 때네 시 그러니까 시야도 그래 레체 그러니까 다디 미신다 저기 쇠에 차와 지주자네 다디 그 시야도 그래 레를 받아 레 매버지 시야도 가고로 저 다데 근저스로 거스나 다데 저디 당내 지구다
When we talk about creating karma or accumulating karma, as we usually say, and on the basis of our motivation and then the action itself, and the preparation of the action itself, and then finally, when, for example, in the case of killing, you have the motivation to kill somebody, and then you actually go to act, you engage in the action of killing, and then finally the other person or the animal dies. And so these factors, the motivation, the action, and the final death should happen in order for us to create this karma of killing. And so his question relating to this is that when someone, a child, for example, is born in Syria or Afghanistan and so forth, where people are indulging in lots of terrorism and killing others and so forth, and so how does that relate to these kids? I mean, people who were brought up in these countries. How do they create such karmas? Because they may not have the motivation and so forth, as we explained. And then the second part of the question is about when one, for example, he steps on an ant or some insect, what kind of karma is was created by that? By what kind of karma does that ant or the insect die?
또 당고디 I think first part as you know many Indian non-theistic religion we have the concept of rebirth, no beginningless of life, go like that. That also you see the finally subtle consciousness, which I already sort of mentioned. The subtle consciousness is still consciousness, momentarily changing. So that shows there must be causes. In the cause, substantial cause and cooperative factors. The substantial cause must be same nature. So that's the reason, you see, if you accept beginning of subtle mind, then that subtle mind, you say, its substantial cause must be some physical or something, or without cause. That's illogical. So therefore, consciousness, no beginning. Go like that. So then rebirth theory come. And furthermore, there are people, you see, who shows certain sort of, even in child, at a young age, some sort of different, mental attitude there. So these, I think, previous lives, some sort of imprints like that. So now, children, as you mentioned, like Afghanistan or Syria, these, firstly, you see, due to their karma, they born. That also due to their karma, previous karma. And then, I think, at the very young age, I think the children in Afghanistan or Syria, India, Tibet, I think not much differences. But then, actual sort of surrounding, then you see makes some differences. So that also, of course, you see some connection with karmic link. Now, karma or action. Karma means action. So action, there are physical level action, mental level action, a verbal level action, and there also you see the grosser, more subtler, more subtler, more subtler. So the very subtle sort of the level, the karmic law of causality, till 가서다 시제 지부 방니 들리지 모시고는 패지 렌더 차시 또 가고였다. 영사오르셔디.
Unless one reaches the state where one has overcome all the defilements within one's mind, and particularly what is known as the cognitive obscuration, or some kind of defilement which hinders you from knowing everything as it is. And unless you reach such a state, I mean, it's very difficult to tell what kind of karma has caused certain things to happen very precisely.
But grosser level, of course, you see, if you harm someone, you see, it brings some suffering, pain. So any action, verbal action, physical action, creates some uncomfortable other. That's negative karma. Any action brings some joyful, or at least some peace. That is Dewa, Kasa, positive karma. So that I think obviously we can see a certain action brings more uncomfortable, certain action brings more because of the comfortable. So that's the demarcation, Gyawa Tikwa. More subtle level, more complicated. So ultimately, any verbal action, physical action, entirely depend on motivation. Motivation is sincere, compassionate motivation. And a certain physical action, verbal action, even if it creates some uncomfortable other, but your motivation is sincere, then okay, no problem. Samge wala tibame.
So when you are motivated by some positive attitude, even if you may do some harm to others, that doesn't really turn out to creating negative karma.
So most important is motivation. Mental level, karma or mental level is something most important. That through awareness, through training. In 조질 가래. So like that. Now next question. 저 랑을 줘야 역사도 투치야. 투치.
Good afternoon, His Holiness. My name is Rohit Kumar. So my question is regarding the state of secular ethics in today's time, where the world is possibly edging towards a clash of religions.
No, I don't think. I think generally, if you know each other, different religion, and meeting with genuine practitioner, then you develop understanding about the value or teaching of other tradition. Then naturally, you see, you develop some sort of admiration or respect. Now the problem is, you see, the people not seriously, not sincerely follow their own religion. So religion carries just a name. So then the all negative emotion still remain very raw. Now, since that person not seriously follow their own religion, including Islam. Genuine Islam practitioner must extend our love towards entire the creation of Allah. And the real meaning of jihad is combat your own internal emotion, positive emotion, destructive emotion. That's the real meaning of jihad. Not sort of killing or harming other. So, any religion, see, the main practice is practice of love, forgiveness, tolerance, these things. And no religious sort of tradition say their sort of say the God is full of anger. Nobody said that. Their God is full of love, full of compassion, infinite love. Whether Christianity or Islam or Judaism and so on. Nowadays, although you see some conflict in the name of religion, I think 1,000 years that's there. In this country also sometimes that problem. And even Tibet also, within Buddhists also, sometimes you see fighting with different color of head. So red head sect, yellow head sect, black head sect. So these just use the name of religion, not seriously practice, not seriously follow. So that's, I think, weakness of human being. And then on top of that, the political power or economy interest. That also, you see, there's a main sort of, I think, cause, main factor. And then use religion. And then religious people also, you see, not not sort of intelligence or intelligent, just a faith. And then some people, some individual can manipulate easily. So religious people should know the whole system and the main sort of teaching and implement seriously. Then I think this conflict in the name of religion can reduce. Then the first step, now here, for example, Muslim, Indian Muslim, obviously Shia and Sunni, no conflict. And Muslim, Hindu, and Christian, I think millions of Christians, millions of Hindus, millions of Muslims live together. So I think this country is Muslim because from their birth, the young child, they already know there are different religions there. And then, as far as I know, Malaysian Muslim also is more open-minded because there are a large number of Chinese businessmen, women, these, most of them Buddhist. And then also large number of Indians, these are Hindu. So therefore, the Malaysian Muslim, they already know there are different religions. Then Indonesia also. Firstly, I think Indonesia's case, firstly, in ancient time, Buddhism much sort of flourished in some of the island of Indonesia. So some Buddhist temple like Kasajauti, Borobudur there. So you see, that makes differences. Then the Arab Muslim know that kind of conduct, isolated. On top of that, I think some politicians, some leaders, I think manipulate. And also, I think, some extent, I think Western attitude. The Muslim world, listen, they have some kind of fear. The Western technology, Western civilization may sort of harm their sort of faith. And in fact, I think some, books, right? Some books, you see, they mentioned there is some kind of clash, Western civilization and the Muslim world. Such sort of thinking, I think, very dangerous. You see, Muslim also, you see, the Western civilization means democracy, rule of law, and more material development, modernization. Eventually, Arab world also need that. So Saudi Arabia, I think, some kind of kingdom. Now, gradually some changing. In the past, Saudi Arabian female, I think much sort of low position. Now these are gradually changing. So therefore, I think democracy is future of the world. Rule of law, democracy means kings or religious leaders, now some kind of ruling by religious leaders or kings. That I think outdated. So therefore, I think no genuine clash, Muslim and Western civilization. Because of Muslim country, some of these Muslim country, their social system, little bit because of the old thinking. So therefore, Muslims themselves now changing. Education is key factor. I think Western nation must provide facility for education, health, instead of helping weapons. Not that way. Helping education. I have opportunity visit Jordan a few occasions. In Jordan, Amman, you see, some occasion I met some student. So because of they already have modern education. So when I met them, they are sort of dressed like a Muslim, and particularly those girls, like that. So when I met some Muslim lady, I also see jokingly do this. But then when we discuss the sort of similar, very similar to an ordinary sort of modern school, sort of the children, no problem. So that therefore education makes differences. In Iraq, Syria, I think in this area, I think modern education not fully developed. And the different nations, Western nations also exploit their oil. It's not genuine sort of helping education field is like that. So that's my view. So few Muslim individuals, you see, carry some violent action. You should not describe them as a Muslim terrorist. These are terrorists, not Muslim. Muslim, as soon as one person who belongs to Muslim community creates bloodshed, and then that person no longer genuine Muslim. That's Muslim friends say that. So, for example, in Burma, you see, a few years ago, I think a few years ago, when the Burmese Buddhists harming Burmese Muslim, so then Time magazine, they cover one Buddhist monk, Burmese Buddhist monk, and describe Buddhist terrorist. So, if people consider Buddhism also some connection with terrorist. Then suppose I am one of the leading person of Buddhism, so I should be terrorist. And these monks, these Buddhists should consider terrorist. So there are cases, some person who belongs to Buddhist community but acting terrorist. That's separate. Person who belongs to Buddhist community acting terrorist, no longer genuine Buddhist. Similarly, any person who belongs to Muslim community acting terrorist, no longer genuine Islam, Muslim. Okay. I often now telling that in America or in Europe. So when the reports say Muslim, Buddhist terrorist, I also feel a little uncomfortable. So then millions of, I think around billion Muslim, in their eyes, because here, Muslim terrorist, I think they feel uncomfortable. One thing, I think recent event, quite clear, that after the September 11th tragic situation, tragedy in New York and Washington, then American response, eventually, you see the war with Iraq. I think these are really mistake. Actually, the 12th September that year, just next day, I wrote a letter to President Bush because I know him very well. I respect him. So I wrote a letter while I express my condolence. Then I express, I hope this problem must, could be dealt with non-violent way. So if that happened, I think today's this kind of Muslim world, a lot of negative feeling towards the West, I don't think happen. So therefore, you see, all these Buddhist concept patitya samuppada, everything interconnected, interdependent. So some person, because of the mistake, that effect, that vibration, you see, reach there. And from there, another vibration come. And then eventually, some good thing or bad things will happen. So we can't blame independently or absolutely. Okay. Next question.
It's my privilege to have this opportunity to ask a question to you. And my name is Gyati Joy. I'm working here in District Hospital Tawang as a doctor. So I have seen people from different walks of life, both rich and poor. So my question is, in this world, we see lots of people are dying in the name of religion. Many are fighting. And they say that they are fighting for their own gods, but nobody has seen their own gods till now, from their own eyes. And on the process, they have forgotten humanity. Sir, I feel if it's proven that there is a God or there is non-existence of such God, then this problem can be solved. If you show them that there is a single God, every religion believe that they have single gods, like Islam have Allah and Christians have Jesus. But if we prove that there is nothing like different gods, different names, only a single God, and in their own eyes, or if we prove that there is no such God, no such things like God, it's their only belief, then such killings and hatred can be averted, sir. So is there any such solution, sir? When there is no such solution, sir, when this hatred and killing will stop in this world, when there will be peace in this earth, when people will stop killing each other in the name of religion, when sense of humanity will prevail in this earth.
I think more or less same questions. So not only that, I think Jainism, no concept of God, and Buddhism, no concept of God, no creator, self-creation. Buddha clearly stated. And then, Parmana Vatika, Samanamre, Parmana Vatika, Karika, clearly mentioned. You see, Takparang Jugu Yongshing Maris.
So, according to Master Dhammakirti, his Brahmana Vartika, he says there cannot be, it's not possible for some agent which called God, which is permanent, unchanging, and self-evolved.
And each monastery, Sivokolo, Tuga.
So when we visit Buddhist monasteries, in front of the monasteries, you usually find painting of the wheel of life.
Oh. So the ultimate source of suffering, of birth, is ignorance. No creator. So long ourselves, you see, much sort of ignorant there, because of ignorance there, then that causing because of suffering. So in order to because of the escape from suffering, we must deal with this ultimate ignorance. So it clearly shows there is no creator. So self-creation is the Buddhist sort of concept. But we have to realistic. Out of 7 billion, 1 billion non-believer, then 6 billion believer, among them about 1 billion Muslim, 1 billion Christian, then less 1 billion Hindus. Then I think about now, because of a lot of Chinese now become Buddhist. So today, 400 million Buddhist population there. So now Buddhist number also now increasing, perhaps nearly 1 billion. So Muslim, there are billion. This is reality. Whether their concept right or wrong, we must respect them. They are an important part of humanity. So therefore, now secular ethics cover all religion. Because all religion talks about loves, compassion, forgiveness, tolerance, self-discipline, like that. So that's my way of approach. So, I think, firstly, I think we should reach out. I am suggesting some Indian Muslims, I think Indian Muslim, should take more serious sort of responsibility, serious concern about the problems in Muslim world. And you see, these Muslim so-called terrorists, these also human beings, when they born, not terrorists. When they are 10-year-old, I think 11, 13 years, and are not terrorists. Different circumstances eventually, you see, create that. So we must reach out these people. Some occasion, I think in America, some Muslim group, we met. And I told, you American Muslim, they should take more serious responsibility so to reach out. Those Muslims in Muslim countries were more isolated. So like that. So therefore, that's my view. So anyone who want to destroy whole Muslim, impossible. Or whole Christian, impossible. Whole Buddhist, impossible. So we have to live together. Like, I think, like sort of little sort of difficult husband and wife, sometimes fighting, but have to live together. Next question.
Your Holiness, such a privilege to be able to ask this question. When we see it from the perspective of ethics, how do you view it when monks engage in polity and political work? Does it not conflict with religious practice?
Sa. Ka. Yes, that's, I have the view since many years in Ladakh and also men. If politics, something clean politics, just saving people, then okay. Sometimes politics become a little bit dirty politics. The people who involve politics, their moral standard not that sort of adequate. So then politics become dirty politics. Similarly, religion also. People who carry religious sort of activities, their mind not very pure. Then religion also become dirty religion. So politics as far as a little bit sort of dirty, then we Buddhist monk must remain distance ourselves. So that's my view. And since I think few years, I am suggesting the monk, we are carrying the Buddha's message. So one individual monk indulge politics, then the whole name, something damaging, like that. Okay. So usually I describe Lama politics, including myself. So therefore, since 2011, I totally retired from political responsibility. And not only myself retired, but also 4th century old tradition, Dalai Lama institution, eventually automatically become head of both temple and religion. Now that voluntarily, happily, proudly now cease. So sometimes I jokingly expressing that this sort of tradition, dual responsibility, now that started from 5th Dalai Lama. So now 14th Dalai Lama voluntarily sees that. So if 5th Dalai Lama return or come, what he will say, but there is no danger, he never will return.
Your Holiness, thank you so much for being here with us. I'm Ranju Dodo, I'm a journalist. Asking questions is part of my profession. I hope I can make this a good one. I want to just ask, not just specifically to Buddhism, but to all religions, have rituals become more important for followers these days than the actual pursuit of the knowledge of religion? As opposed to, if rituals are not as important as knowledge, then should we stop doing the rituals altogether? Why spin the prayer wheel? Why do Kora of the Gompa? Instead, should we not pursue the wisdom and philosophy of the religions instead?
As far as Buddhism, general, particularly the Sanskrit tradition, ritual, are not important. As I publicly mentioned here also, on many occasions, the tantric practice, there are some rituals there. We just jump in the practice of Tantrayana. That's wrong. Tantrayana, something like Kasoda, Thosa Kandwali theory.
It's like somewhere on the upper stories of the house or building.
So we have to climb step by step. So without a proper foundation, then these practice just a ritual, not much meaning, not much effect. My own daily practice, of course, this visualization of different mandala and these, but I found real effect come from analytical meditation about shunyata, about bodhicitta. That really transformed my emotion, not deity yoga. So, basically, as far as Buddhists who follow Nalanda tradition, ritual not important. We must sort of use our intelligence maximum way, through that way transform our emotion. That's the proper way, not ritual. And the individual who already have some experience, then on top of that, some ritual, then okay. But the other tradition, I have no right sort of interfere with. As far as Buddhism in general, particularly Nalanda tradition, ritual not important.
Your Holiness, my name is Samraj. I'm a doctor. Our work is considered as one of the noble job. We treat many patients with infections through antibiotics just to bring relief or to liberate suffering from one human life, wherein we kill millions of unseen microorganisms. And we Buddhists believe that every sentient being has equal life, irrespective of size or color. So, Your Holiness, please enlighten me whether it is a sin or not. If it's a sin, how far is the sin? How big is the sin? And does it going to bring some changes in my life?
I think virus, these, of course, living thing, but whether there is consciousness or not, still we don't know. Like blood, there is life, but no consciousness. So killing means not only life, but feeding consciousness. That we consider sentient being. So I don't know these certain kasoda. But lulu simbu dirishidon samde shegarda dirishidonus. Doesn't songsara ina mena.
So in our text also there is mention of some kind of simple microbiome, what do you call it, the 84,000 in our body. So I'm not sure whether they could be considered as sentient beings or not.
It's a certain in the stomach, certain sort of worms. Sometimes you see taking certain medicine and then come out. So I think truly sentient being. So on these, now we have to judge in order to restrain harming these and sacrifice that person's life. Again, we have to judge the person's what kind of life. Good person is a meaningful life, so also useful to the society. Then his life, something worthwhile to survive. For that reason, some sacrifice, some worms, I think worthwhile. If the person a troublemaker, then better to die.
My name is Sophia Lagu.
Oh.
Utmost respect and honor to you, His Holiness. My question is, in Tibetan Buddhist calendar, some days are marked as auspicious and inauspicious. So I want to ask that, are there really such days as auspicious and inauspicious? And should one really follow this in today's modern world?
Those people who believe astrology, every some kind of important sort of, including marriage or these things, you see, must be a good day or something. See, many authentic Tibetan sort of practitioner, they openly stated, and so around like another just drama, 세장 예바다 지 karma 예바 딘데기 타네 총 좀데가 송야 말이스 주송요리.
So many authentic Buddhist practitioners in Tibet have said that something that really bad or good things happen to you is because of your own karma, that or good karma, and it has nothing to do with some kind of astrological zodiac signs or stars.
My own tutor, the great, not only just a Lama, but great scholar, great practitioner. Or one day, I think in many sort of cases, when I have some sort of doubt or certain things, some dilemma, I ask him. Then he gives some suggestions. At the beginning, sometimes I doubt, but eventually his suggestion becomes very, very correct. Then one occasion, I asked him, according to my experience, you have some sort of maungwa, ngashinti.
Some sort of precognition, seeing the future.
I asked him. Then he, very good monk, never tell lie. But then when I asked that, he mentioned, occasionally some feeling about future comes. So he admit. So great Lama. Now he often is telling me, the Lingruchi, Nyabokonzungi Muti Kivayin Sore.
So in my own senior tutor, this late Ling Rinpoche, so he used to tell me that he was born on a day which is considered inauspicious, Nyamba Kuzan, which means a day which is filled with 9 inauspicious omens.
Kasa, Nyabokonzungi Muti Kiva Kametro, Kachi Yorba, Chisha Jore. Nyabokonzungi Tukja Shibsi Shego Tanzo.
So Tibetans consider this day a very bad day, even to the extent of saying that you should not even read the scriptures.
But for me, when I study, Nyabokonzungi is very good. That day, holiday. So like that, you see, as a Buddhist, we never consider these kasota tsirang sangye ke chun she ngona jo.
As genuine Buddhist practitioners, we do not pay much attention to these auspicious signs of days or zodiac signs.
But some sort of text teaching, some sort of tantric sort of initiation, these it mentions something, but that is entirely according, you see, the ordinary people's way of thinking or mentality like that. So as far as astrology is concerned, I have no belief. Therefore, one occasion in our Kasa Minjika,
Medical and Astrological Institute in Dharamsala.
one occasion they invited me. I expressed my own view. I don't, medicine, Tibetan medicine is considered really, I appreciate. Really help my sort of body wonderful. But as far as astrology is concerned, I have no belief. So then the student of that astrology much discouraged. So later, another occasion, I have to sort of mention, me personally, not believe this astrology, but as a part of Tibetan sort of tradition, you must study. Like that. Then, I think, final two questions.
His Holiness, I'm Tenzin Gyatso, doctor by profession. His Holiness, you always refer everyone as friend or dokpo, and we refer you as a teacher or lama who shows the path towards the Dhamma. So may I know what is the true or actual relationship between yours and us?
Korsa. Chokusa. I think human contact. You are a human being. I'm a human being. We have this human language. And you also have emotion. I also have emotion. So some of my experience can help you. So my experience cannot sort of share other animal because they are not a human being, not this human intelligence. So I always say 7 billion human beings, mentally, emotionally, physically, same. Like that.
Thank you.
Your Holiness, my deepest salutations to you. I am Sonam Norze, and my question is on consciousness. When in Buddhism philosophy, when is the beginning of consciousness in human life? Whether it is there before conception or after conception?
I think I mentioned my public teaching. Some occasion in America, I asked some doctors, the conception, the mother's womb, no defect, perfect, and the father's semen, and the mother's egg, also no defect, and then semen, that something like a worm, that enter egg, and then that 100% show take life or not. They say no. So then this is bring question, what's third factor? Physical level, semen, and egg join. But still not life take place. So that brings our sort of concept, the another sentient being who have karmic link of that two couple, and then enter that kasa jyoti. So then, and according, I think, Jainism, and mainly I think Jainism and Buddhism, since no creator, so therefore, no beginning of life. And also I think Sankhya philosophy, as far as Purusha is concerned, I think no beginning, no end. When we reach moksha, according to the Sankhya philosophy, the Atma, Purusha, still there, no end. So many ancient Indian sort of philosophical views, have the same view of life after life. And Buddhism, including Buddhism, like that. Okay. So, thank you. thank you. I really appreciate have the opportunity to take some questions. Whether my answer satisfy you or not, I don't know. But I have this sort of, cause of privilege, some explanation. Thank you.